Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you. Hello, welcome to the Anelliverse. Most people are familiar with the 1987 box office blockbuster Lethal Weapon. It's the story of two mismatched cops, Riggs and Murtaugh, who have to learn to work together while taking down a murderous drug empire. It was a clever, action packed movie interspersed with comedy that took the buddy cop genre to new heights. In the end, the good guys take down the bad guys, and Riggs and Murtaugh finally put aside their differences to go on to more adventures in the subsequent three movies. But what if things didn't turn out the way we remember them? What if somewhere along the way, a major event happens in the movie that completely reshapes the story? In short, what if Riggs had ended himself? After Riggs and Murtaugh visit the drug house and kills the man who pulls the gun on Murtaugh because Raj, for some reason, didn't think to check the suspect's other hand. Good going, Raj. And they fall into the pool. Murtaugh and Riggs dry off, where Murtaugh thanks Riggs for saving his life. Now, here's where the timeline diverges. In this timeline, Murtaugh doesn't invite Riggs over for dinner. It's been a long day, he'd been shot at, fell into a pool, and lost a prime suspect. As grateful as he is for Riggs for saving his life, Roger still can't quite bring himself to trust Riggs yet. So instead, he calls it a night and wishes Riggs a good night. Because Riggs isn't introduced to Murtaugh's family, has his first genuine laugh in at least a while, and has his curiosity piqued by the case, Riggs heads home to his trailer on the beach. His mind is still consumed by the death of his wife, and seeing Roger with that warm family life that he himself could never have, and it being Christmas, this finally pushes Riggs over the edge. He sits on his couch. It's a Wonderful Life is playing on the TV for the umpteenth time while drinking bourbon. Riggs just can't take the depression anymore. He pulls out the special bullet, loads it into his Beretta, and whispers, "I'll see you soon, Vicky." And bang! The story picks back up a few days later after Riggs' death. Captain Murphy has been suspended from duty because he ignored warnings from the police psychologist about Riggs' potential suicidal behavior and put him on the street anyway. Meanwhile, Roger is back investigating the murder case solo. He's still seen the video that was mysteriously sent to him, but without Riggs' theory, he settled on the belief that Amanda Hunsacker's death was solved with the death of the drug dealer in the pool. Roger goes to Michael Hunsacker's office to tell him that the case has been solved, but there's something in Hunsacker's eyes that's, well, weird to Roger. Suddenly, Hunsacker says, "Raj, there's a lot you don't know. Meet me later tonight at my house. We can't talk here in my office." Roger's confused, but knowing his friend is still grieving over the death of his daughter, he decides to humor him. Meanwhile, certain parts of the movie still play out as normal. Dixie's house is still blown up, but because Riggs isn't there to suggest following up that lead, Riggs and Murtaugh aren't there to witness the explosion, nor does Riggs find the mercury switch. The explosion is written off as a freak accident. Also, McAllister and Joshua had Hunsacker under surveillance and saw Murtaugh visiting him. But this time, McAllister doesn't send Joshua in a helicopter to kill Hunsacker. Instead, they decide to use something a little more subtle. As Roger drives to Hunsacker's home, he gets a call from Hunsacker himself. Hunsacker says, "Raj, change of plans. Meet me at the Friendship Bell in San Pedro tonight at midnight." Roger says, "Mike, what the hell's going on? Why all the cloak and dagger? Why don't you just come down to the station and we could talk about this?" I I just feel safer discussing this in private. Please, old buddy, just humor me and do me this solid. Please." Roger sighs. He'd really rather go home, see his family, get some sleep, and put this case behind him. But because Mike is an old friend, and he did save Murtaugh's life in Vietnam, as far as Roger's concerned, some debts just have to be honored, no matter how crazy they may seem. That night, Roger goes to the predetermined location. He pulls into the parking lot next to Hunsacker's car and gets out. "Mike, what the hell's going on?" Roger asks, feeling tired and irritable. "I'm sorry, old buddy," Hunsacker replies. Sorry. Sorry for what? Roger asks, confused. Just then, 3 cars show up, and out come 9 men, armed to the teeth, and all of them pointing their guns at Roger. At first, Roger thinks about pulling his gun, but then he thinks better of it. One man with a 6 shot 357 versus 9 guys with machine guns? It's just no contest. He slowly raises his hands, to which a couple of guys frisk him and then disarms him. Slowly, General McAllister and Joshua get out of the last sedan and walk over to where Murtaugh and Hunsaker are standing. Detective Murtaugh, you're probably wondering what's going on, McAllister says, his voice gravelly and cold. I'm sorry, Roger, but they have Beverly, my other little girl. I can't lose both of my kids. I just can't, Hunsaker mutters, his voice pregnant with guilt. Mr. Murtaugh, we know you've been talking with Mr. Hunsaker here, Joshua says. We've already questioned him, but we can't be too careful. We need to know everything your investigation has turned up, and Joshua glares at Hunsaker. We just need to verify if our associate here has been telling us the complete truth. You're kidnapping a cop? You won't get away with this, Murtaugh protests. Oh, but we will, McAllister simply says. With that, they whisk Murtaugh into a car and drive off into the night. Beverly will be released shortly. Let this be a lesson to you, Mr. Hunsaker. Nobody betrays Shadow Company. Nobody, McAllister says as he gets into the car first before Joshua does. 3 days later, Murtaugh's body is found washed up on Redondo Beach. His murder is never solved. Hunsaker continues to launder money through his bank for Shadow Company, and they continue to flood the Southland with their heroin from Asia. McAllister and Joshua, they make billions. Meanwhile, Hunsaker continues to be their slave, always living with the knowledge that while he's important to the organization, he can never be truly free of them. His family can be touched at any time. He reaps the benefits, yes, but with the death of his daughter, his other daughter traumatized by being kidnapped, and consumed with guilt from setting up his old friend, Hunsaker continues to work until he dies of a heart attack a year later, the stress and paranoia finally becoming too much for him. Reeling from the deaths of 2 officers within days of each other, and their captain being investigated for criminal negligence, the Assault and Homicide Division is reassigned, the members scattered to different stations. That concludes this What If. As you can see, the loss of Riggs obviously upends the timeline of Lethal Weapon. If Riggs were alive, even if he hadn't come up with the Dixie theory, he probably would have been there to back up Murtaugh, and maybe Murtaugh would have survived. You know, this was a fun What If from my warped mind. I'm thinking of doing more of these for other movies too. I have a lot of ideas that I'd like to get out. If you liked it, please give the video a thumbs up. Also, if you like this story and want to check out some of my other YouTube videos, please feel free to check out my YouTube channel. And as well, if you want to check out some of the other stories I've written a few books, please check out my site, www.theanelliverse.com. The link is in my profile. The books are available on Amazon and other sellers. Thanks for spending your time at the Anelliverse, and take care.